All right, welcome back. Patreon.com/the Derrick Lamon Experience. One-stop shop for your hip-hop news. Apple Podcast, Spotify, YouTube, iHeart, etc., etc. This is the last word. Of course, this airs on Sundays at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. For patrons, they get the first crack, and then it comes to the free feeds later in the week. There's been so much going on. Congrats to the Thunder on winning their first NBA championship, their first NBA finals. Congrats to them. Congrats to the Florida Panthers, I suppose. Well, you know what? Congrats to Chucky for winning his second. The trade to bring Matthew Tkachuk to Florida really turned that team. 3 straight Cup final appearances, 2 straight Cup wins. Congrats to my guy Seth Jones. Seth got his first Cup. Very, very happy for him. NBA draft was last night. I'm recording this on Thursday. Actually, round 2 is tonight, and the NHL draft will be tomorrow. As I stated, I'm recording this on Thursday. The one thing that just seems to keep coming up this week, outside of the Mitch Marner situation and who's making moves in NBA free agency and what happened at the draft and how Ace Bailey, deciding he didn't want to play for certain teams, how it's affected things. The one thing that's been coming up consistently for like a couple weeks now is Jim Jones has lost his fucking mind. It was one thing when he said Pusha T's not a top 50 rapper of all time. It's like, all right, Jim, but if he's not, you definitely can't say you are. Like, it seems like Jim was tweaking out really hard because Drake has an affinity for Dipset, like all of us, right? And for quite some time, Drake has been the golden child. Right, wrong, or indifferent, right? There's a lot of shit that he does that I don't respect. I'll say this just to start this off. Hip hop is one of the last pure art forms, right? Black people are responsible for so much. Hip hop, R&B, country music, rock and roll, they all come from black people, right? And society took rock and roll and made it a predominantly white thing. They would take what they called race records back in the day, and then they would have a white artist recut those records to get, radio play and stuff like that. Hip hop, white people have taken R&B. There were so many boy groups, boy bands, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, 98 Degrees, so many of them. You would always find that there would be one who would wear his hat to the back, or somebody would write a verse for one of them to rap on a song or something like that. They don't ever cross over to us. They take from us. Hip hop is the last pure art form that we have. I want to be very clear about that. Other than jazz, right? And you see what they did with that. For Drake, and this is coming from somebody who's possibly, I think I've purchased every Drake album except for all the dogs. That's just a bad album. Point blank from top to bottom. That's a terrible fucking album. I actually didn't buy Honestly Nevermind either. And I didn't buy what's the one with him and 21 Savage? She's Over It, or what the fuck is the name of that album? Hold on. Let me do a quick Apple Music check. Her Loss. That's what it's called. Her Loss. She's Over It. I don't know what the fuck I was talking about. My issue with him is this. Again, this is the last pure art form that we have. Make no mistake about it. We're losing recipes. And also, I want to be very clear. I don't want to pull that I have many white friends card. I do. I really do. I've got Asian friends. I've got Jewish friends. I've got white friends. I've got Indian friends, etc., etc. I've never had a problem with race. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I don't see color, because that's just absolutely fucking crazy for anyone to say. But the color of somebody's skin does not fucking matter to me. I have friends that I sit around and talk about video games with. I have friends that I sit around and talk about comic books with. I have friends that I sit around and talk about basketball with, football, baseball, hockey, everything, right? Even soccer. This has nothing to do with Drake being half white. And this conversation is not about Drake overall. I just want to get this out because this is more about Jim Jones and him losing his fucking mind. You're taking the last pure thing we have and you're suing because somebody called you the P word. And it's like, oh, everybody's like, no, he's not suing Kendrick, so it doesn't have anything to do with the battle. Yes, it does. Not Like Us is a battle record. He got called the P word in the battle record, and he's suing his label for defamation. But he also said that Kendrick was beating on his wife. He called Kendrick a domestic abuser, right? That's defamatory. So if Drake is the type to throw a rock and then hide his hand. Fact of the matter is this, as I stated, you're taking the last true thing that we have, that we built, and understand this hip hop is rooted in the struggle. Right? Grandmaster Flash, The Furious 5, Big Daddy Kane, KRS-One, MC Shan, like Mobb Deep, Nas, Jay, Beanie Siegel, Memphis Bleak, 50 Cent, Ja Rule, LL Cool J, so many. I can go on for fucking days. You name me a borough in New York and I can give you 15 rappers from that borough. That's how much I love hip hop, right? Staten Island, Long Island. We're talking Wu-Tang out of Staten Island. De La Soul out of Amityville. It just goes on and on. This is what I do. When Thug was on trial and they were going to use his lyrics against him, Drake was one of the first people to put his pen to paper and sign that petition about how rap was art and you could not, it would be disingenuous to use their lyrics, which is a form of their art, against them. Most battles are hyperbole. I don't know if Pac really fucked Faith. That's between Big, Pac, Faith, and the Lord. And Big and Pac are no longer here, so that's really between Faith and the Lord because that was her husband, right? I don't know. I don't know if somebody really pulled up on Jay-Z in a 4.0 and he had a 4.6 and he told the cocksucker to beat it. I don't know. Nas called Jay a Tybo ho. I don't care. Fact of the matter is this. You were so quick to put pen to paper to sign that petition, which you were not wrong for that, to make sure Thug didn't go to jail. I'm not the biggest Thug fan. Thug can spit. But I'm not a huge Thug fan, but I'm happy he's home with his family. You sign that petition, then like a year or so later, you then bring suit against your label because he called you a P word in the battle. And I'm not going to say it because YouTube and stuff like that, they will flag this audio. So I'm not going to say that. He called you a P word. So fucking what? Rap better. Rap better. We should have got you the fuck out of here when we found out you weren't writing those records. Because first it was just the records off of Jesus Christ. If you're reading this, it's too late. Then even after years after that dies down, we find out there's more reference tracks out there. Like, that's insane. Tim Van's Legend, Know Yourself, his verse from Rico from Meek's second album, Jumbotron shit popping, which why you would let Lil Yachty write for you is beyond me in the first fucking place. Mob Ties, Ratchet Happy Birthday. Ratchet Happy Birthday is a terrible fucking song. You didn't even fucking write that. Back Outside Boys and Pound Cake. And then on the 100 Gigs drop you did, y'all didn't go through and edit the video because you're talking about getting a reference from somebody. I can't remember what song it was. And you in the booth and you're talking to 40 at the boards. And he's like, well, this is how it sounded in the reference. This is how he did it in the reference. Why y'all wouldn't scrub that content before you put it out is fucking insane. Again, you're cheapening hip hop by suing. Because if it was hyperbole and it was art, when you wanted to help Thug get out of his situation, how's it a year and a half later, it's not hyperbole and it's not art when it comes to you? The purest form of Drake, I believe, is Thank Me Later, Take Care. Maybe, well, I mean, Hush wrote on like 45 to 50% of Take Care. So we're finding out he didn't write a lot of these records. If you want, Google the name Anthony Paulman, and then you'll see who that person is. It's somebody in Drake's camp. And then I want you to go pull up this person's writing credits. And he's got credits on a lot of the first few Drake albums. And that's why old Drake sounds so different from new Drake, because This person is not writing on these albums anymore. But this is not about Drake. This is about Jim Jones. And I'm sorry I went off on a tangent. It seems like Jim really believes, for whatever reason, that he's this great MC. And again, why I brought up Pusha T earlier, like I said, I think Pusha T is one of the 50 greatest rappers of all time, in my opinion. And I listen to a lot of fucking hip hop. I'm 43. I've been listening to hip hop every day of my cognitive life. We're going to say from like the age of 9 till now, right? I've consumed a lot of hip hop. I know who can rap and I know who cannot rap. Jim wasn't even the best fucking rapper in Dipset. Let's clear that up. And that's saying something because Jewels with his, hey, the stop and punchy flow, not exactly great. Saying Cam watched Jim and Jewels on a lot of songs isn't a crazy take because he really did watch them on a lot of records. Jim has been on this fucking media tour lately. I'm just as ridiculous. This comes from newhiphop.com. Jim Jones has been calling out Nas in several recent interviews, arguing that his overall catalog is better. That was bullshit. Jim says he's responsible for Nas having one of the most viral moments of his entire story career by going after him during multiple interviews in recent days. He's been arguing that his catalog has aged better than Nas and he isn't a fan of his work since his iconic debut album, Illmatic. Jim, you have one super great album. Like, you've got a couple, like, Hustlers, POME, right? Somewhere in Miami, What You Been Drinking On. There's a couple records on there, right? We Fly High is not on that album. It's on another album. I can't remember. Like, Jim has some hits. Don't get me wrong. But you're not Nas, my nigga. Like, we're not going to do this. During an appearance on the Backfield podcast on Wednesday, he once again spoke about the Queensbridge rapper. Jones began by arguing that Nas has never been as popular as he is since Jones originally brought him up. Quote, what I did for Nas recently probably has never been done in his life, he remarked. Last time he was in some viral shit like this was when he was getting at Jay-Z. He added that he hasn't spoken to Nas yet about the situation. The crazy part about this is some people sat up there. DJ Clue, veteran. Every rapper in the 90s wanted to get on the Clue tape. Clue sat up there and let Jim say that shit, which is fucking crazy. Esso is from fucking Queens. I believe Clue is from Queens too. So you're from Queens and you let this nigga who claimed Harlem, but apparently is really from the Bronx per Cam, sit there and shit on Queens' greatest MC. That's fucking crazy. I don't know where Heineken is from. Couldn't tell you. He might be from Queens, but I know for sure Esso is, and I'm pretty damn sure Clue is as well. And you let Jim come up there with all that gray in his fucking beard, still dressing like he's 19 years old and sit there and talk shit about one of hip-hop's greatest poets. Are you fucking crazy, Clue? Like, nigga, are you fucking crazy? Anyway, fans on social media are starting to get tired of Jones' antic. At this point, there's a woman involved. One user wrote on X, formerly Twitter. Another wrote, mind you, this nigga Nas just won 2 Grammys for collab albums with Hit Boy. Low key, it's fuck Jim Jones. It's not even low key, it's high key at this point. Jones originally reignited his feud with Nas while appearing on a recent episode of the Joe and Jada podcast. Quote, I was a superior Nas fan. But when you get into the game, you realize your idols be rivals. You went at Nas because Nas spoke out about Cam and a bunch of other. Nas spoke out about Cam, Nori, and Nelly needing to step their bars up. Nelly in particular because that's when Nelly and KRS-One were beefing. But at that time, Nori was rapping a bunch of bullshit. Cam literally said, I get computers Putin. Like, and I love Cam. And I love the Purple Haze 2 album. But like, my nigga, I get computers Putin? Are we serious? Like, real talk, what are we doing right here? Jim thinking he's better than Nas is absolutely laughable, though. He went on to say on the show, my son can't tell me one Nas record. Well, that just means you raised your son pretty bad. You didn't really raise your son to be a part of this hip-hop thing. Anybody that's coming up who has a kid, you goddamn right my daughter's heard Nas. Are you fucking crazy? I played my daughter all types of hip-hop. All types of shit. But I've also played her all types of R&B and rock and stuff like that. When I grew up, I played the drums, the trumpet, and the cello. I was also in choir as well, right? So I was very musically rounded. Now, she's going to listen to who the hell she wants to. I didn't know Sabrina Carpenter was that fucking horny. I bought my daughter Sabrina Carpenter's album for Christmas. I bought her a record player and started her vinyl collection. I did not know Sabrina Carpenter was that horny. Found that out. Found that out. But she's well rounded. She has a very, very dense taste in music, and she'll be 12 in 2 weeks. Right? So that's Jim's fault that his son don't know shit. That's not Nas's fault. That's your fault. Jim says I got a hell of a catalog. Me, Jim Jones, myself, gold records, platinum records, no diplomats, nobody else. Me, Jim Jones. Check my track record. Jim, I could name 1,000,000 Dipset songs before I settle on one of your records. Let's be fucking for real. You wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Dipset. Like, let's be for real. He says, then go to Billboard and check all my entries and then check all this nigga's entries. I've been spanking a lot of this shit. Pull up Nas's Billboard entries, then pull up my Billboard entries. During a later appearance on Nightcap Podcast with Shannon Sharp and Chad Ochocinco, he doubled down on the comments when questioned by the former NFL stars. Jones explained, I know I made a little boo-boo when you're talking about the sales and all this type of shit. Yeah, Nas was killing him in sales. Which shows you Jim is just running his fucking mouth. Nas was nice when I was in high school. Nas was dope. We appreciate him. He had a little bit of a run, but Nas always came up second to Jay-Z and DMX and all these other people. Yo, Jim, you literally were talking about it ain't even got to be on no rap shit. I'll knock Jay's head off, and then you signed to Rock Nation. Like, you've been a clown for a while. Cody never had that type of influence on us except for his first album. I used to want to dress like Nas. He had one of the illest albums of all time. I'm a real fan of Nas, but he kind of lost me after the movie Belly and shit like that. Nas is yet to acknowledge Jim Jones' criticism. And he doesn't fucking need to. And you know why? Because real hip-hop fans are addressing this. Nas does not need to say anything. What Jim Jones needs to worry about is how Pusha T and Malice are going to bar his fucking head off on this Clips album that we're getting on July 11th. That's what Jim should worry about. Or Jim should probably, I'm not saying dress your age, right? You look a bit ridiculous. Like, you're still sagging your pants and like, bro, come on. Jim is older than I am. And I just turned 43. Jim is definitely older than I am. I think Jewels is about my age, but I'm pretty sure, let me see. Pretty sure Jimmy's older than I am. He's fucking 48. You're almost 50. You are almost 50. So you shitting on Nas. You trying to shit on Pusha T. I guess you think you're going to get this Drake feature that you still haven't gotten. And you shit on Cam. You shit on Cam. You shit like 50. Fuck Cam and 50 got my dick in their mouth. Like, Jim, you wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Cam. You literally wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Cam. Outside of Dipset, nobody wanted to hear Jim Jones. There was not a label that was going to sign you until you stood next to Cam and you got hot and you directed videos and you got hot. Nobody was checking for you. And then like, oh, I'm better than Nas. Like, bro, Mel Matrix and Free to Wave, Mel Matrix and Max B, again, Free to Wave. Max B will be home this November, I think. When you, like, We Fly High and all that shit, Max and Mel Matrix wrote that. Like, what are you doing? So another nigga capping for another nigga who don't write his own records. I see what we're doing today. But I'm glad that Malice and Pusha are back together. I'm glad the Clips are outside rapping. I'm glad they got a Kendrick feature. I'm glad they got a Stove God feature. I'm glad Pharrell did those beats at the fucking Louis Vuitton headquarters in Paris. I'm glad that real hip hop is back outside because niggas like these are absolute clowns. And I don't usually do shit like this on this show, but Jim has really got me tight right now. Like, this is fucking crazy. Pause. Like, this is absolute crazy. So anyway, that's all I got for y'all today. I'm going to end this like I end everything else. Believe in yourself first and foremost, because if you don't believe in yourself, of course, nobody else will believe in you. As always, my name is Derrick Lamon Jackson, and that is my time. Y'all have a good one. Peace out.